MMA Roadshow, episode number 562. My name is John Morgan, and Cold Coffee is with me on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2026. A brand new year is upon us. The Paramount CBS era is just a couple weeks away. Big year for the sport.
Yes.
Important year for the PFL as well, right? We talked about where do they end up. Does ESPN stay in business with them? Do they try to prop them up and replace the UFC a little bit? That'll be a fun story to watch all year long.
Yep.
Big year on the horizon for CFFC as well, man. It'd be, my first full year as a general manager. You got in, got my feet wet, kind of got adjusted. But no, we got a lot of big things. Obviously, I'm not taking credit for that. Rob Haydack is driving the boat. And of course,
you hear that, Rob? In case you're listening, he's not taking full credit yet.
No, not yet. No, I'm just no. Happy to be a part of the team over there, man. Really, it's been a fun year. Four-time champion? Should we just get to it right away? Four-time champion?
Might as well start with the good stuff.
Let's start with the good stuff because we got to go to a place. And once we go to a place, I don't know how we come back from that place.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I'm trying to start the year with positivity because anybody that's tuning in and is a long-time listener, I'm sure understands the emotions that are boiling beneath the surface. Yeah. But I want to start – it's January 1st. I want to start on a very high positive note.
Did you see that meme? I love sending memes, obviously. I've talked about it recently. That meme, everybody's like, better get that last shit out, we're 2025. You don't want to carry that shit to 2026.
I don't know when that started becoming because I see that all the time now. I feel like I never heard that before.
No,
it's the past year or two. But
this last week, I've been getting drummed with that one, and it's so funny because it was so clever. I was just like,
I think maybe last New Year was the first time I'd heard that, and I'm sure it's been around longer, but I do think it is pretty funny.
So I made sure to take my before the ball drop dookie. Even though there was plenty still the next day.
Follow the directions.
But yes.
Four-time.
And the back-to-back. And the back-to-back.
Back-to-back.
First time at being back-to-back. That was one that I think was always the initial,
Right.
I had that chance that first year when I got my second time, there was that possibility of going there or whatever. That was the threshold I think that I was always like, that's going to be so hard to get. And it has hard.
It's hard.
Nobody's repeated it.
Nope.
So that was really, I was really, really like, fuck yes. The fourth time is definitely, that's just like, now it's like baller status. I'm like walk-off status. But like the back-to-back.
The New York Yankees
was the big one.
of MMA
Pick whatever
heyday,
picks.
The Boston Celtics and 13 in a row
the
or something they had.
Somewhere. It's been incredible. Like Nolan gave me a good run for the money there at the end, and but boy, it was something. But yeah, the back-to-back, man, and but it's funny. There's so much stuff that happened at the end of the year that it just kind of swept under the rug. I remember after the first time when I got the two-time champion, the Junkie put out a tweet. They're like, oh, let's welcome the first-time, two-time champion. I was like, thank you.
So what's your run been? Is it 4 out of what
No,
years?
I want to. Matt Erickson used to put that graphic up.
Oh yeah, because he used to put the little trophies, and then they had to quit putting the trophies because he ran out of space next to your name. Matt Erickson used to put those little trophies on the grid.
2024. I want to say maybe it was 2021, and then 2020.
So 4 out of 5 years, right?
Or maybe I want to say 4 out of 6.
4 out of 6. Okay.
I think I want to say there was because Simon had. I think would have been my second one, so that I missed that year, and then there was I either took another year or got one, and then took another year off.
You don't even remember years that you don't win, bro. Like if it's not a win, like that year just doesn't exist on the. Hey, listen, that is good because as you know, everybody on the MMA Junkie staff is obviously educated in the sport. It's all we do. We live through it. Obviously,
and the readers too. Like every time I like the readers, like are ballers.
Yeah.
Like the readers are always beat half of our staff as well. Like they're very, very educated. So I always look at that and say like, all right, how are we doing? How am I doing compared to the readers and stuff like that? So every time when I see reader picks, sometimes when the picks would come out, I'd look at the readers. I'm like, oh shit, I went against the grain with the readers there. I was like, am I going to be right or am I going to be wrong? A lot of times I'm right, but there are times I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean, it's been something. And a lot of it goes back to like even what the genesis of this show was, the fact that we are always on the road. We're always in the face of these fighters, and that's been the main crux to it. I don't. We joke about it all the time. We don't study. I don't do crazy analytics. I don't do whatever. A lot of it's probably 70% intuition and gut feels, and then 20% intellect, 10% final. Just my heart says I got a homer for this person or whatever.
I mean, you're already getting a step up because we literally watch every fight, right? You know what I mean? So
I watch every event,
every fight
every
from start to finish, right? It's not like, well, I skipped those prelims. No, because some people go back and do intense tape study, and I don't have a photographic memory by any stretch. I can get myself back there if I think, okay, where was I, what was the place, etc.
Yep.
But when you actually watch every single fight, not like, well, I had it on in the background or I skipped that event because I was doing something. I think that data just kind of automatically you get some, and then as you said, then we get the fortune of being around the athletes all week, where you're like, dude, his weight cut is definitely not as good as it was last time, or that dude's got a different energy, a different attitude, and this is, as silly as that sounds, and always when I'm breaking down fights, sometimes I feel like it's almost like too many intangibles versus the actual X and O's. But this sport is a lot of intangibles and a lot of mentality and all those things, man. So
at the end of the day, it's a fist fight, and anything can happen. But all those fine little details. The more that you can kind of just pay attention to some of those little things, and then you just make that gut decision on some of it. But I think with a lot of the fighters and a lot of the cats, since we did watch the prelims because we're absolutely just junkies for that shit, we've literally watched most, if not everybody that's on this roster come through from the prelims up to this point, so you just, I don't have a photogenic memory or whatever. I can't pull everything out and is that the right word? Photogenic?
Photographic.
I'm photogenic. I just don't have a photographic
Your memory is not so photogenic. Well,
as soon as I said it, I was like, that doesn't feel right. I've never been a wordsmith. I struggle with the words, but as anybody that listens to this podcast knows very, very well. But there are, I can't recall. Somebody's like, oh, you remember some of the guys on, Bond's really good. Jose Young's. And there's a lot of cats out there. They're like, oh man, remember in UFC, 227, the prelim card was blah 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 blah. He threw this whatever, and I'm like, no. Did you just watch that shit, or you just remember? I don't remember that.
Jose's got a really good memory for that stuff.
It's ridiculous. Some cats, and that's why I'll never try to compete to do whatever. That's already been taken care of. Just like when we always say about there are people that write stories about stuff, people. That when it's your avenue and that's your thing, do it. I will stay way out that avenue. I'll stay in my lane.
I know my lane. I'll stay right there.
But it does help to watch those sort of things. But because at the end of the day, it just comes down to when you see him that fight week. I usually, even a lot of times this year, I would wait till after the media day, just to see what they look like. I don't want to be that, because normally we have to put the picks in before weigh-in day, but you can make a last-minute decision on weigh-in day, and hey, Matt, you have to send an email to everybody. Can you change my picks, and this is my reasons why, or whatever. But I didn't try to stretch it that far. But for the media day, you're coming into the fight week, you get that final look in their eyes 2 days away from when they're still struggling, and then you get to see that window to their soul. I'm like, I've seen this guy in the past, and you could look at all the stats and all the numbers, but then when you're looking at him, you're like, something's off. Something's off. And then you have to make that decision. Do I go with what I've seen in the past, or do I go with what my guts tell me, he doesn't look right, And that'll do it. I want to say one of the weeks that I didn't pick Marvin Vettori, I want to say it was when we were at the Palace Station. I can't remember what event that was. I remember clearly thinking, that Marvin that I'm seeing right now, and watch, maybe he won that event. I don't know. I don't think he won that event. But I remember I didn't pick him, and I want to say it was the right decision because of how he looked. I should normally research that to make sure that those numbers are good, but I'm just like,
well, listen.
But that's what I remember.
All that you said. That listen, 4-time champion. Now we're kind of joking a little bit. We're kind of having fun with it, but that's a hell of an accomplishment, right? It's one thing to be like, somebody just got on a lucky streak, you know what I mean, and they won it one year. It was a bit of a fluke. They got on a lucky streak, and then even 2, maybe you could say, well, but you've been here a long time, you know what I mean? So it's just the law of averages and statistics is, everybody's going to get their shot at the top if we're all close and relatively. But 4-time, and it's, even if 4 out of 6 years, That's damn impressive, man. So like again, I like the fact that neither
Whether
one of us
4 out of 6, 4 out of 7,
4 out of 7, 4 out of whatever. It's still damn impressive, but it is it's good. And I mean, I love the fact that neither one of us try to pretend like we put more thoughts into our picks than we do, but there is some expertise there, and it's not just sheer luck when you do it 4 times.
Yeah, I think so. But we always joke too, and I always say like, because I've seen sometimes bettors or start following me on whatever. I'm like,
please don't.
Yeah,
Please don't.
If you have that much flow, you just want to throw it towards a random dude's picks. I've had a decent run, but I will by no means tell people like follow my picks.
Right.
Like if a bro reaches out and says, "What's your gut feel on this?" I'll tell him. But like, I always tell people like, if you're looking at our staff picks and you're using that for some sort of guideline, don't come at me because my picks go wrong, because I'm also the same guy. I'll throw an 8-person parlay thinking I know my shit, and I lose every time. So it is what it is.
It's interesting too, because I mean, when you talk about really like expert gamblers, and I watch like the online stuff that's on Fight Pass, and I enjoy that. But if you're really trying to be profitable, number one, as a 17-year Las Vegas resident and as somebody who's raising a son in Las Vegas, I always say those billion-dollar buildings you see there are not being built to give money away. So let's always remember that. But should you choose to try to make an effort and be profitable and all that, you got to pick your spots, right? Whereas we're picking literally every single fight, but we're still wrong a third of the time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like, if you're really trying to put money, I'm the same way though. When people are like, "Bro, should I put money on this?" and I'm like, dude, don't ask me that, man. Like, it's your money. Like, I can tell you what I think of the fight, but I'll never tell somebody like, yeah, definitely throw your money on this.
Yeah. I'll never do a sure thing, because there's no sure thing in this sport.
I think the only one. So my mom used to come out. She came out a couple times, so I took her to Brazil. My mom was a massive Ronda Rousey fan. I got a chance to take my mom to Brazil, which was awesome, and to see it in Brazil. She got to meet Ronda and all that. Really, really nice. And then she really enjoyed her career and following her. She was a big fan. But when Ronda fought Amanda, my mom, and I did tell my mom, because she would come to watch the whole fight card. I'm like, Mom, that's like 6.5 hours of fights. I was like, if you want to, we can go over to New York first, and you could put like $5 on every fight. I'm like, it will make it a little bit more interesting, because then all night long, you got something to go on, because I'm down there working on press row. But I will say, she was like, and then I want to put some money on Ronda against Amanda Nunes. And I was like, Mom, I'm preventing you from making this bet. I was like, and she was just making like $5, $10, $20 bets. And I'm like, Mom, I love Ronda too. I'm like, her place. And me, man, I'm still a big Ronda fan.
Oh, yeah.
I hate when people try to rewrite her meaning and her impact in the sport. She was huge. Yep. But in that fight, I was like, there's just no way she's going to win this fight.
Just go throw it in the slot machine, because you have a better opportunity to win than picking that fight.
You have a chance at that point.
So when you went there so your mom went to Brazil, was that for the Betch Correia fight?
The Betch Correia fight.
Okay, UFC 190.
Betch Correia fight, yeah.
Yeah. I remember Betch thought she was like, thought her striking, she thought she was everything. I remember she was so bold, and so like, she believed it. She believed every bit she was going to win that shit.
Yep.
No, ma'am.
Oh, man.
That was fun.
Fun trip, man. All those trips down to Brazil. All right, so congratulations to that. I do want to give a quick mention as well to CFFC BJJ 16. If you didn't catch it this past weekend, and you're looking for something to watch, and you're gosh, I don't have much combat sports going on. I'm hanging out on New Year's Day. I still got a couple weeks until the UFC is back. I would say that even if you're not the biggest grappling fan, which I am a big submission grappling fan, but I get it. Some people aren't. This event, we had 8 submissions and 8 matches on the main card. I mean, it was exciting, and this was the first time that we went to the UFC BJJ system. So we're obviously like, look, we're trying to be part in the same way that we send athletes at CFFC to UFC. We want to send athletes at CFFC BJJ to UFC BJJ. So what's the best way to do that? Well, we need to mimic their rule set a little bit, right? We need to get them in that same environment. Obviously, we're a little far away from being able to build the bowl the way the UFC has. I mean, that's a big, expensive structure, but maybe we'll get there someday. But what we did was, so the prelims, we still have our old rules, right? Because the prelims were kind of like the younger level time. We even had the kids matches, which are fun to watch.
Yeah.
So the kids were great. So we had the kids. Then we have the kind of developing pros, and a lot of these are like, maybe they're purple belts or brown belts, or they're kind of developing that. And I'll be honest with you, I still like our rule set very much. So we do a 6-minute regulation match, and then if it's tied, or if there's no submission, I'd say, because there's no points, there's no advantages, then we go directly to this golden score overtime, which it makes the overtime like tense, like because it's first points win, right? So, and I like it, but obviously that doesn't show the same kind of skill set that UFC BJJ does. So what we do on the main card now is we don't do 5-minute rounds, we do 4-minute rounds. 3 4-minute rounds for everybody because, again, they're one step low. In the same way, on the regional level, we do like 4-round title fights instead of 5. So, again, we're building except for the main card, or the main event, I should say, and then title matches. Well, we didn't have any title matches this past week, but those will be the full 5. But we had 8 submissions. We only went to the second round twice.
That's awesome.
6 first-round submissions, man. So it was very, very exciting. Everybody got the message. It was a 2-hour show.
Yep.
With 8 interviews. We interviewed everybody.
I was going to say, you guys actually interviewed the kids, too. That was kind of – I was wondering what you guys are thinking about. The first one just kind of went sort of like, yeah. And then you interviewed the loser, and she's like, yeah. And I was like, well, I'm glad that they took the time to bring her over. They were cute as all get out, but it was just like –
we've had some kids that get a little bit rambunctious. And to be honest, and I'll be honest, Amanda Mazza, who did the interviews for us, we literally asked her 5. We were just like, wait, Amanda's here, let's throw on the broadcast because she's great, man.
I didn't mind looking at her at all.
She's a phenomenal representative of the sport. She's not bad on camera.
Not bad on camera.
Her camera presence is very nice, but she's been an amazing athlete for us. Obviously, she had that incredibly viral moment where her arm snapped. She showed me her scar. Scar is nasty.
That's gnarly.
But she's already back training and ready to compete. She was like, "Hey, when's the next event?" I think we're doing the end of February. She's like,
"Yep."
Get me on there.
And there were a couple kids that showed out. If you want to say, the
Sean Brady's nephew. Yep, James Brady.
James Brady, he did really good. And then Jocelyn.
Yep.
Jocelyn. I don't know what her last name is.
She is unbelievable.
She's 13 years old, but acts like a 23-year-old, or maybe even a 30-year-old. She's very, very mature. She was talking about. I saw in her post-fight interview, she was trying to be help the next generation. You guys are like, you
are the next generation. So Jocelyn, in fact, you know what? I would say that. Go back and watch the event, and by the way, big shout out to our partners because we got to debut those competition rash guards with silverback stripes. We've been working on designing those, and then hopefully everybody liked the rash guards. And I thought they came out looking really, really good. So we got to debut those. Those look sharp all night. But yeah. To me, the whole event was fun. Again, it's 2 hours, 8 matches, 8 interviews. It's fast. But if nothing else, Jocelyn Molina, she's the future.
Yeah.
I mean,
she didn't beat another kid. She took a full-on woman.
13 years old.
Yeah.
She submitted a 44-year-old Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean,
and she made not easy, but she was very dominant.
She was dominant.
She was very dominant.
She was dominant. She is. So Oliver Taza was in the main event, beat on Andrew Cockle. I love Andrew Cockle. But Oliver Taza proved he's next level.
He's good.
He competed for the UFC Fight Pass Invitational before it was UFC BJJ.
Okay.
And so I think he needs to be back. I'm hoping they'll have him back because I thought he looked fantastic. But yes, Jocelyn Molina at 13 years old, submitting black belts.
Yeah.
And like you said, and then on the mic, her presence on the mic.
She was really good.
Unbelievable.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, she does not sound like a 13-year-old.
No. And you're so right. It did crack me up. She's like, I just want to inspire the next generation. I'm like, you're 13.
You are the generation.
Are the next generation. She wants Bella Mir.
I was just literally, Bella just popped in my head when I was thinking about some of the young athletes out there. Bella had a really tough time against Jocko's daughter, Raina Willink. Raina? I think it's Raina.
Yep.
Which I hope, when I ask Claudia afterwards, actually, I thought Claudia did a really great job in that post presser when we talked about a bunch of stuff. She wants to bring Raina back because, I was selfishly, I was like, can we get Jocko back here? I was like, I just want to talk shit with Jocko or whatever. But Bella, she gave Bella every bit of a challenge, so she's definitely worth it. But, I mean, it definitely showed not holes in Bella's game, but places where Bella, her wrestling is so good, but she was struggling in parts of that. And I can see where somebody like, this Jocelyn chick, she's amazing. So and why not just go in there and steal all the hype of Bella if she's able to get a win from her? And it's not like when you hear 13, you think, oh, she's obviously going to be undersized or whatever. Like, no, she's not at all. She's huge. She's big. She dominated a 44-year-old woman.
Unbelievable.
She's amazing.
She's the future. Watch that. So
why don't they? I mean, you were talking about. I know you said the bowl. Why don't you guys try to bring an event here to use the Apex and use the bowl? Is that ever a possibility?
It's a discussion. It's certainly a discussion. I mean, it involves transporting a lot of athletes,
Yep.
and then do ticket sales fall on us or do they fall on the UFC? It's not
Yep.
really our market, but there's definitely that discussion. We've talked about coming in and doing the Apex. And I think everybody wants to see how the Apex shakes out. Which, hey, that's a big story in 2026. You've been following on. I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Come here in a couple of weeks when we finally get in there again. But
you see the pictures of the VIP. They moved, so that last event they moved the VIP liquor section from that walkway that we in the media room would have to walk through to get into the venue space.
Right.
They have that normal eating area where the VIP eating area, and they used to have the bar there off to the side, but they actually moved it into the front concession thing. So I was actually able to get pictures to kind of look into the concession area. So it looked like what you would see at most of the place. You see the hot dog roller, you saw some other things, but you could see back into the kitchen. But they had the stuff on the counter, but it was just being able to look into it, and I was like, okay, it looks legit.
Yep.
It doesn't look like, hey guys, we just threw this together. It looks like they really okay, what do people have at T-Mobile? Like, what is in their concession stands? Like what sort of equipment do we need, to do this sort of thing? So it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Even though it was just for the VIP alcohol, I was like, hey, is this for like actual consumption of regular people? But it wasn't for them. It was just the VIP package or whatever.
That's still the biggest thing. I'm anxious to see how it comes out. I know they're talking about regular tickets are for sale now, but I'm just anxious to see what the makeup of the fan is, how much of it is available.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a big deal because we talked about it before. I think one of the loudest crowds ever was when the Vanderbilt baseball team was in there, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because they're just college kids having fun, not worried about I got invited here on VIP or you know what I mean.
Yep.
I gotta conduct myself in a certain manner.
Yep.
Man,
because remember every slap that was there, they started taking slaps to the Fountain Blue, which I get. Maybe they wanted more people in there, but the atmosphere in there was always just bonkers.
Well, and I'm sure they're getting paid by Fountain Blue as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, that's
good old site fees.
Good old site fees, which is really funny because Fountain Blue is it is the most elite level big hotel. I mean, they're small, little tiny properties that are
nice.
more catered, but Fountain Blue is really
Went and saw
nice.
a concert there the other night. Went and saw Toto.
I miss the rays. That was the closer, right? It had
It was the closer.
Of course.
But it's funny. No, it's funny. I was taking songs and there was some they didn't play, but the whole time I was just cheesing. I was like, "This is awesome."
That's fun.
But
I haven't been in their theater.
I mean, the theater. Next time I would contemplate I got floor seats. I was maybe 14 rows back, something like that. But they're just chairs that they sit onto a floor. That's normally a general admission floor.
Right.
So it's not. They were comfortable enough. I wasn't worried about that. But
not full on.
It wasn't
armrest.
And so once the people in front of you stood up, you either stand up or you just try to find a space where you can see through the stage. So whereas I think if you're on maybe the lower bowl or whatever, but whatever, that's all people. I like to watch music as a musician. I want to stare. I want to watch the interaction. I don't want to just dance to dance. I'd rather just fucking stare. But it made it tough. But regardless, the sound was good. The staff was really, really nice. Paying $40 for a double JMO and soda was not my favorite thing. But that being said, the Fountain Blue, that concert space was gorgeous, and walking through the venue to get there was really, really nice too.
If you're coming to Vegas, I would at least check Fountain Blue and Resorts World. Just at least look at their website because they run a bunch of specials. And to your point, it's expensive inside there. So we'll do a little staycations or whatever. Like Fountain Blue, we've stayed there. Me and my wife and kid have stayed there a couple times so that they can go, hang out at the pool and stuff. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm bringing some cocktails up inside my luggage because I ain't paying. I'm not paying $40 a drink.
It's ridiculous.
The whole
and the
time
food and whatever. That's why I always when I
Stop
see those
by the liquor store, throw a couple in your bag. You know what I mean? I don't think they frown on that a little bit, but
I think they expect
they got to understand. I know you can't bring coolers or anything like that, but. If you bring your luggage and shove it in there.
Why not?
What are you going to do?
Yeah, it's funny. You always see those retail stores. I'm like, who comes shopping here? Unless that's different tax bracket, lifestyle stuff. I'm just
crazy.
I'm just walking past you so I can get to the music venue, but I was like, I appreciate the nice, well-lit store of whatever this product is that that I can't even sniff at the price. I'm like, whatever.
Beautiful
but
product.
It is nice. But yeah, to your point, you brought up Resorts World. So the parking to leave was so smashed, trying to get in the Ubers. That was one thing about the drop-off at the Fountain Blue. That little front way was a little congested and a little madness, and luckily my Uber driver, she was just crazy. She didn't care. She was cutting people off. She got me to that door. I was like, well done. But if I was me driving, I was I'd be nervous as all get out doing what she was trying to do. But I was like, good for you. And so I got in, and then so trying to leave was the same thing. So I ended up walking across the street. I was going to go to Circus. They had a huge line of people waiting to get cars. People that were doing what I was thinking. That was like, oh, I won't take it from the, Fountain Blue. Let's go to the Circus. Nobody will think of this. Everybody else thought of it. So then I ended up walking down the street, and I was like, what's the next property? And it was Resorts World, and that was like one of the first times I went in there. And like a lot of the stuff was sort of closed, but it's gorgeous.
I love that property.
It is nice. So a lot of the stuff, I do want to go back and give it a proper look when stuff's available, because there are a lot of the restaurants outside of like one of the super high steakhouses that was still open. I was like, I'm just trying to bide some time to get an Uber. I was like, but I walked past that, but that street food place that's in one of the bottom in one of the casinos. A lot of the places were closed, but that looked really, really good.
Yeah.
So I ended up just throwing some money in the machine, wasted a little bit of time, then took a nice expensive surge-priced Uber home. But it was still fun. I felt like I had the Vegas, we chatted about it, I felt like I had the Vegas experience that night.
Every now
went
and
out, saw a concert at the Fountain Blue, then went to the Resorts World, and then I went home.
I always say there's there's a group of locals that just say, I never go to the Strip. That's for tourists. And to me, I just think if that's your attitude, like, you're being dumb. Like, you have a world-class destination in your backyard. Go experience it every now and then. Pick your shots, obviously. Like, you're not going down there all the time, because it is expensive when you go down there. But pick your shots and take advantage of it. You know what I mean? So
it's a lot of really, really good stuff. And I mean, when it comes in some of the food and just seeing the spectacle, it's just a giant spectacle. I mean, like, it's pretty impressive. Even just to go back and just window shop or whatever is kind of neat. And it's just a fun place to get some steps in. But yeah, as in terms of the traffic and congestion, it can be a bit nuts. But once you get through all that and you get to the spot, it's pretty darn cool, man.
Did you get a chance to see the Hard Rock coming along?
Oh, I mean, you can't miss it.
Can't miss it.
I mean, when you see how big that thing is, it's just like, holy goodness. It's just crazy. It's going to be ginormous.
The Hard Rock, which used to be the Mirage, for anybody that isn't aware, I think most people probably are, but the Hard Rock purchased the Mirage, shut it down. They're in the middle of remodeling the existing Mirage construction, as well as building this massive guitar tower. Yeah, this guitar structure, which I believe is going to be the tallest structure on the Strip. And it's positioned in such a way that as you run north to south on the Las Vegas Strip, or south to north, I should say, or whatever you want to say. As you're going up and down the Strip, as you're moving north, it curves just to the right, so that it takes a little turn, and that's right where it is. So it's going to have like really good visibility from everywhere on there, because it's kind of at this little apex of a turn. So it's going to be a pretty massive structure. Still another year away, I believe. 2027 is the.
Still crazy how that stuff can go up. Those sheer size of those buildings, even if you think of a year, you see the Ball Diamond. And it's taking years or 2 years to put that together, and you think about the complexity of what a resort would actually take. Like, I know the Diamond is going to be very technically, it has its own things, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to what some of these venues you have to put together, these resorts. So to see how long that's taking, and then to see one of these $3 billion, whatever it is, building go up in this amount of time, while there's still a huge city thriving and spectacle all around it. How they're able to do it. It's not like it's just in the middle of whatever. They could bring the trucks in and do all they need to do, and it doesn't affect anything. It's right in the middle of all that madness. To see this go up is just crazy.
It's nuts, man. Simultaneously building a new project while completely remodeling an existing building, which they are stripping down to the frame. Like, a remodel, I don't even think I don't even think that describes it, because I was noticing the other day, like, they're stripping it out.
Yeah, it's like what can we use from this existing structure, and then eventually they're just gonna demolish it out or do something.
No, it's gonna exist as well, but they're like rebuilding it from bones. Like, instead of like, I thought they were just gonna come through and kind of leave the structure as it is. Like, they're stripping that thing down to the bones and then rebuilding it. So,
interesting.
All right, listen. I'm glad we got as much positive energy out of that as we could.
Yeah, that was good. That was 30 minutes.
I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. I started looking at picks on the way over here, and I don't know that was the best decision, and I wasn't sure that we were going to – well, I wouldn't say it was a bad decision, but it definitely got me emotional, so I wasn't sure we were going to be able to get that energy up. But for all the positives and all the excitement there is for 2026 and this being January 1st, and I didn't want to come in here and not try to have some good energy for people. Whenever you're starting out the fresh year, you want to be good. But we obviously lost a brother, and it's I know each of us has been dealing with it in our own way, and I know everybody's trying to deal with it together as well. But Abbey was, I mean, obviously it came out of the blue. Nobody was expecting it. And we knew what was happening before the announcement was made public. So some of us have had a little bit more time to deal with it than everybody else. Obviously, the family wanted some privacy as they were dealing with the struggles. But it's been tough, man.
Yeah.
I just, first of all, anytime something happens sudden, it sucks, right? Because you're not planning for it. And it was out of the blue. And even though, like I said, we had a couple days to prepare ourselves,
there's no real way to prepare.
There's no real way to prepare. Yeah. And the thing that's been hardest about this for me is just, this is one of the best dudes I've ever met in my life, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not to be silly, but like, there's shitty people walking out there, you know what I mean? That get to go on, and
that's the most frustrating part. That's the part that makes you angry.
Yeah.
Is when you look around, because you're like, why can somebody like that literally seems like they want to shit on everybody's thing, still breathe and move around, and you have somebody that seemed to embrace everything and everybody. I would challenge anybody, find me a person that had something to say about Abbey that was not. You can't find it.
You can't.
You know, so it's so frustrating, as you say, you know, that the good ones always go early, you know, and especially when he still had his whole fucking life ahead of him. And was it 45?
45.
Way too young. I mean, we were saying this when we lost Tom, and then now Abbey, who's even younger and had even more, his whole career, he's got a 1-year-old child, 5-year-old child, 18-year-old child, 23. I think Liberty's 23. They're all still kids. Yep. They still need dad there. You know, I mean, that's so incredibly hard and it's so frustrating. And it certainly puts a, you know, as rough as, you know, 2025 does, it's hard to think of anything worse than losing this and having this at the end of the year, you know. Like you said, we've had days to deal with it. We've had good days. And when I say good days, days where it's not just like in a blubbering mess sitting off to whatever. But then there's a lot of days when it's just madness. And you try to look at the pictures. I was waiting to put something out, and I was trying to look at photos. I was like, I got so mad and was frustrated because I was like, I know there's more photos. Why can't I find the photos? So then I was diving into old phones. I pulled phones out of a drawer that I think are never powered them up because I was afraid they were going to explode because I thought I didn't use them. But I was like, I'm going in there. I'm going into the drawer. I was like, I know I have photos, and it helps to see the photos, but then it hurts to see the photos because there's a lot of stuff. But I think what also hurts too is that there's so much of what we do and all these memories that you can't. Even with traveling and doing all these things fall off to the side. And I know there's pictures and I know there's memories that we have that I can't find the documentation that I want to because I'm afraid that my head's going to forget it or blur it, you know, and you need people reaching out and you need people saying whatever. So I'm glad you looked at the photos. Like you said, it's hard. It's hard as all get out. But I mean, like, honestly, they're a blessing too. I mean, but I was so frustrated. I couldn't find some of these ones. Broadacres Marketplace, one of the events that came out here, I took Abbey out there, and he used to always he'd always want to hang with the kids. And I'm like, fine, go hang with the kids, whatever. And I was like, when you're ready to hang with the old dude, let me know, you know, whatever. And one of the times I took him out to Broadacres, he's like, dude, I've been trying to get with you. He's like, you never want to hang out with the whatever. I was like, it's because you and the kids are drinking.
Well,
and I was like,
us on the road and us at home is different, right?
It's different.
Like, that happened to a lot of people because, like, John Morgan, especially back in the heyday when I was on the road 40 weeks a year or whatever, I was a savage.
I got stories. We got stories on Morgan for days and days.
I was a savage, but I would meet people over there, including guys like Abbey and Sandhu, and you know, obviously those guys were working together when I first met them, and I was so blown away by their work ethic, by their professional. And that's what, and we'll talk about the professional career. But yeah, that would happen a lot, right? Because we go on the road and like, we're on the road, let's have fun. And then people come to Vegas and they're like, dude, let's go hang out. Like, bro, I'm on my couch right now. Like, what are you talking about?
Like I always tell people, I'm like, Morgan, you are the closest friend I have here in town. Like, I'm like, JMO can't get me out of the fucking house to go do whatever. I was like, you think I'm just going to come because you want to hang out with – I love Oscar and all those guys. I was like, just because everybody's in town, you're like, let's all go, whatever. I'm like, I've kind of made it home. I'm in the house. Like, there's a force field that stops me from leaving.
So hopefully Abby realized how valuable this was to get you out of your house and to go visit Broadacres.
And Broadacres, so people haven't been to Broadacres. It's on the north side, northeast-ish area. It's actually, if you're on the boulevard, it'll eventually will take you out there. You get way out in the sort of like the hood area or whatever. Just outdoor market, outdoor flea market, and it literally, you feel like you've been transported into like Little Mexico. Yep. There's like a mariachi band. There's all this other stuff. A lot of stalls, food stalls, and other little stuff. But I remember he was so blown away. He's like, I've never seen anything like this. He's like, I can't believe this is Vegas. He's like, I feel like we've left the town. He's like, I absolutely love this. Yep. So we took a picture, and I can't find that picture, and it's driving me absolutely crazy. Because I went back there another time after that, and I sent him a picture of a Michelada and the thing. He's like, oh, you're at our spot. So, like, that place now is, like, awesome. Always, like, our spot. So
that's awesome.
But, yeah. That's the picture thing is like it's a blessing and it's a curse. Like I'll love to go back, but right now it's still hard to like go through the pictures and stuff.
Yeah, got the chance to travel to Europe, covering events, and knew that we need to grow our team and knew that we need to establish our presence over there.
Yep. And
obviously Abby was working with Sandu. And
Kamikaze TV.
Yeah, and I thought those guys were great, man. They were us. They grinded.
Yep.
They had passion.
I agree.
They weren't afraid to put in the hours.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They were doing it for the right reasons because they love the sport and they wanted to glorify the athletes. And you know what I mean? Like I was like,
I think that's why we all took to them so much. I never really thought about them and how they mirrored like what we saw.
100%, man. And I was like, we got to work with those guys. We got to work with those guys. And obviously we got to make that a reality. And then continued to battle to obviously, financial resources are tough. And I think sometimes it's tough to tell a USA media company why we need to be working with these people over in Europe. And then there's just the reality of like, well, we don't even have a way of hiring people outside the United States legally because of what we do. But we always found a way and we made it work and contractor and all this and finally got a chance to bring them on full board. Full time, I should say, and it was right when I had made my decision to leave.
So was that 22 or
22?
Yeah, it was 22.
And it was right when I had made my decision to leave. And obviously, I talked to you about it, but the only other person outside of that,
biggest regret in your life. I mean, look at you now. I mean,
tough. But the only other person I told before I officially made my announcement was Abbey because he was coming on board at that time, and I just wanted him to know, like I just didn't want there to be any surprises. Not that like that should change. Oh, I'm not going there now, but like that's just how much respect and love I have for him that I was like, I would not feel right not sharing this with you because and I was like, please, keep this under wraps. But that's how much respect I had that I hadn't even told the company. I hadn't told anybody out of my inner circle. But I told him I think if there's one, and I can't even say a blessing, but there's one nice thing, like you said, and you're spot on about find somebody that has a bad thing to say about him. But I think one thing that I really, once it went public, that I liked seeing, and as weird as that sounds to say, is just like how many of the messages were exactly the fucking same because it was true.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, that dude worked hard, and he was badass, and he was talented, but everybody immediately qualifies that with, but it's not that I'll miss the most. It's just that guy. You know what I mean? That like he was bringing positive. I don't think I've ever had more positive support from anybody in my life than that guy. Like I've got a decade of just like positive messages and affirmations and I don't know, man. I just never seen somebody that carries that much positive energy with them at all times. And
through all the grind, through all the ups and downs. Yeah, the dude, like he was built differently. He really, really was. I mean, I think obviously he was human. So I mean, he got frustrated like the rest of us at certain things, but he was really good about shucking it off and also, pushing it into a different thing. He would take a lot of that frustration, push it into his creativity. But also, like when some of us, especially like even me, like I can't get over things as easy, you know. But then Abbey would send like a picture or something, you know.
God.
It's funny you say you got 10 years of like positive mess. I probably got 10 years of inappropriate shit that I could never share.
Well, we got a couple threads, you know. Him and I have obviously our personal history. Me and him and Simon Head have maintained a group thread over the years, and yeah, there's a mix of positive messages and beautiful things, and then some of the most inappropriate shit.
Oh yeah.
But it was that sense of humor, right?
Yes.
And it was funny, you know. It was, you know.
And it's funny, you know, so you talk about the beginning, and I want to say this October event, so the picture I chose it to when I put a little post, when the first ones were outside the O3 arena, and that was when Abbey and Sandu came, and they were going to help out, and we were there for Junkie, but they were there to help out as well, and we end up getting to step back and, like, let them kind of, like, run with shit, and when we just helped and, like, sort of, like, mentored and helped. So even in that image, so you got Bon doing a fight preview with Sandu.
Yep.
Abbey's running the camera. I'm just holding the fucking light. I'm holding the light. You can see the light on the face. I was holding the light, and then you got Pear off to the side taking pictures or whatever. But that was like, that's when I remember it was like, it really felt like I was like, all right, man, these guys, they're doing the work. I was like, let's let them shine. Let's let them do their thing.
Absolutely.
And I remember thinking like, this kid's got it. I mean, like I felt like we were starting to set the things in a good place for the future. And I think that's part of that. I think, not to jump too far, one of the things that pisses or upsets me, like, he's the guy that was supposed to be when I left.
Yep.
He was supposed to be the guy, you know. So it sucks that that's not going to be a thing because there's nobody that's going to take that place. We could bring another guy, and there's not going to be another Abbey. There's not going to be the next version of whatever.
He was,
you know,
he was so talented in his creativity, right? The creative editing. It's in fact, I'd actually
it grew exponentially.
We have some kind of deep video edits that we want to do at CFFC, and like I was like him and I was in conversation with Abbey. I was like, dude, like maybe this is a side project. I don't see this would be a conflict of interest. You don't cover us. We're not a competing agency. Like, let's talk about this because he was so good at it that I was still trying to work with them. And honestly,
great creative structure. I mean, just his storytelling was really good.
Incredible, man. Our last messages together were about talking about doing a big project together and how excited we were that maybe we could make this a reality, that we could, because dude, I can't tell you how many late nights, because we would have so much fun, like, because we travel over to Europe and there were multiple people. I was saying we did this in the United States too, but when there were more of us, and obviously now these days it's kind of more of one person travels or two people at most. But there were times where we'd have three on the road, and we started realizing it kind of makes more sense if you got three people to get like an Airbnb. You know, everybody
Airbnb stories.
Oh my God, we get an Airbnb, and that way like it keeps the cost down. But then on top of that, like you'll have like a living room or whatever, you can all collaborate. So when you come back, you can all sit around that table. And dude, yes, the Airbnb stories. I mean, we had some amazing Airbnbs. We found some, like in Stockholm, we had this like huge penthouse apartment. I mean,
is that where you had the guy and he tucked in the windowsill and he was blocking the cracked window or whatever?
That would be that. No, that was in Scotland. And I tell you what though, Abbey not only did he have great video, and so him and I would stay up really, really late and do these edits because he wanted everything to be perfect. And I love that about him. Like he was a perfectionist, like down to like a frame. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be just right. And we did all these different projects together and enjoyed it. And he actually was the one that first started teaching me video editing. Like at the time, I would have to like shoot stuff, and then I'd like send it back over to the States to be edited or whatever. I'm like, we're losing time. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like this is silly. And he was like, dude, come here, sit down. I'll show you. You know, I'll show you how to do it. And he got me going on that path. But in addition to being great editing skills, I think a lot of his role in the Airbnb a lot of times was breakfast. My man could throw down on breakfast. My man could throw. A lot of times we would go like find like a little grocery store, a little corner market, whatever, and you know buy some ham and eggs or whatever, and or you know, and he'd be up cooking breakfast. And
he didn't try to make you the English breakfast.
Well, not the full English breakfast, but he gave it a little try.
Not funny how people always say, "You want the full English breakfast?"
I do love it. And he would, oh man, and every time he came over here, man, he would.
Oh, he could cook his ass off.
He could cook.
I mean, he would always send pictures and like I remember we have a bunch of threads of like, because whenever I would try to do like chicken adobo or something, I'd send him a picture. And he's like, it looks good. He's like, what's your vinegar count? You know, and I was like, I think I went too high with the vinegar. He's like, it can happen. You know, you could just add more water next time, or maybe a little this. Duke could cook his ass off, man. I think that was one of the things I you don't really think about when you can, this is the same guy that you could talk shop, you could talk editing, you could talk work, but then in the next moment you could be talking food, recipes, and then the next minute you're sending these giant jugs of some chick or whatever. That's the thing I'm going to miss the most. Is it was almost guaranteed whenever we finally took the time to get on a meeting together and, Simon or somebody saying whatever, one of us is sending that, / Jiffy space boobs or some form of it to each other to the point where we started pinning them in our chat. Just when we found our favorites, we would just pin them because we'd like, God. And then when ones would come up, we'd be like, oh, that's a classic. Remember when that one came up, or whatever. Just to break up. So we always had that stupid inappropriate chat while like work shit was always happening. And he just had such a great energy. And I remember when the last thing, I hate that that's one of the last things we chatted, but the actual last message he sent to me was on Slack was a jiffy of these giant tits because I was teasing him about how he never joins in our USAT. Like me and Abbey, even though while we are junkie and while Simon is our site editor and assigning our schedules, we report to a different guy, Chris Quarter. So there's a whole other video team, and Abbey unfortunately would have to tape over reaction time during the same time when a lot of times there are meetings. And when the last message, I was like, bro, you never join our meetings. Like, I wanted them to experience Abbey because Abbey's a good dude. I felt like this team never gets to actually have him. And he's like, I'm taping with Simon at the time. I was like, well, dude, tell him to fucking change your time so you could actually take part of these meetings, And not that it was like Chris, like they understood. They understand they had other shit, but I just wanted him to take part of it too because I wanted him to see in those meetings. He was always in the junkie ones, but still.
Let him make that impression. And that's honestly, that's.
But I hate that that's one of the last things that we had chat about was like I felt like I was griping, but we got over it. It wasn't like I was griping. It was just like I wish you were here, or whatever. And then he sent me the tits, and I was like, ginormous. That's the last fucking Slack chat I had with him. I wish it was something more sentimental.
You had the best of intentions, by the way. You had the best of intentions, but that is that is
but,
it.
But
that's the whole package,
and
man.
that was the thing. We could talk shop, and I will tell people, and I stand by this, like what he started creating, what he was making with his graphics and shit. Last year, I nominated him for Gannett's Greatest Awards because I was like, there's nobody in the network that can touch his graphic shit.
It's true.
And he got runner-up on it. I thought it was fucking shit because the one that won was like a graphic detailing data or whatever. It was a USA graphics that were used on the USA Day proper, whatever. Right. So I guess the fact that we had a vertical at the time, because this is before we were really one video team, maybe or whatever. We were still kind of the redheaded stepchild off to the side. So I thought that it was great that he got runner-up for it, but I was like, that's bullshit because Abbey's shit smoked the rest of it. But I think in terms of like what some people in this space, graphic-wise, some of the shit that he was doing, the thumbnails and stuff that we would put on all the SBCs and all this stuff, like you couldn't touch it. His shit was so creative. He was so just clever, and it was unique. It was Abbey's. So like I could tell when somebody mixed it up. I can tell when somebody else's was covering for Abbey, and I can tell when it was an Abbey graphic. And that's the best compliment I can give to somebody is when I can tell when it's your style and I can tell it's your thing. I appreciate it more than anything, and I'm going to miss that because he was so fucking good. And that's why when I said in my message yesterday, he was a great shooter, he was a great editor, but I think hands down, in my opinion, he's the best graphics guy that was out there doing it in the MMA space. And I will die on that hill right now. Come fight me. Come at me. Come at me right now.
No, and I mean, his fingerprints are going to be on stuff for a long time. I mean, obviously everything gets edited and things get revised and changed, but there's no doubt that for you guys, he's going to be a part of that presence for a long time. And
I was willing to just say, can we just not do this shit anymore? I mean, like me and Abbey talked about wanting to kill that fucking project, and this is whoever's listening to this, whatever. It just, for a long time, was just a lot of work, and we weren't getting the numbers. So, like, we were like, we want to kill it. Let's just do whatever. So now I'm losing my other partner that was like, fuck, this is a lot of whatever. Right. But part of what made it good as what it is Abbey's input on it, and it's not going to be easily replaced, and now it's going to feel more like work again on a show that was hard to without his input, because we would always either say what worked or whatever, and how can we tweak this without the guys really know how we're trying to tweak it, because we'd try to butt heads, and when you have a shared project, there's a lot of brain power and people have a lot of inputs and a lot of thoughts or whatever and how they want it to go. But when you're the creative team that has to actually make it happen and put it together, you kind of feel like, well, you guys got to, I appreciate what you're trying to do and what you think you're doing, but then when we have to make this a reality, take what we're saying into account. And I felt like a lot of times it was like me and Abby, team creative versus team just on air talent. And it sucks to not have him there, because now at this point I was like, I don't even want to fucking do it without him, And yeah, and there even little things of like the Slack channel. He's still going to be on the Slack channel, and then in the schedule, because to Simon's credit, Simon was like, hey guys, just FYI, he's like, I can't take Abby off right now. It's just, it doesn't feel right to like put a schedule out. And I was like, so when we had a big talk the other day, I was like, bro, just fucking leave him there. Who fucking cares? Just leave the spot, like he's always going to be there. And then with like the Slack, I was like, he could just stay there. Like, I don't care. Like, just let it stay. So I did suggest, and because we're doing, this is the end of the year, the year, fighter of the year, all the other little sort of shit that just became a giant blur here at the very end. It all came out at the same time, and I remember they voted. I don't even remember whatever. So that stuff came out, but I suggested, and we're not sure what that's going to be, that there will be
something,
an Abbey of the year, whatever that is, whether it be like the underdog of the year, whether that be like they're just like them. I suggested anybody that was even just like had the best social, just creative, outstanding presence in a year or whatever or something. But we have to think about, because I mean that is,
it's got to be some way to memorialize.
It's got to be something big, because when you just think about how a good person, and somebody suggested, maybe the person that's the biggest like just positive force in the sport, put like that as whatever, sort of thing. Just something we can memorialize. Because, I mean, as hard as it is to say goodbye to a guy, but a guy that has built himself into the framework of the structure, he's always got to be there in some form. So even just doing an award, whatever that's going to be, isn't enough, but it's something. It's something. It's something to kind of help.
It's something. It is something, because you don't want to. I mean, none of us will ever forget internally, obviously, but to be able to continue to show that, my wife was actually talking to me. She's like, the sad thing is like how, life does just move on, and it has to. I mean, like it does. You know what I mean? Obviously, for his family, there's a lot of rough steps ahead right now, but it does have to move on, right?
Yep.
Like work moves on, everything moves on. I try to, I guess, me, man, I'm kind of an optimist or whatever. Like, I guess I was like, maybe that's one thing that people can use as a reminder, that like when everything feels awful and terrible and heavy and overwhelming, like, no matter what's going on, like life moves on. You know what I mean? So
yep.
Like, don't let it overwhelm you. Not that I want to take any silver lining out of this tragedy, but it is sad that life does move forward, and it has to, and that's the reality. But like, I don't think any of us are ready to kind of do that right now. I haven't gone through all the pictures yet and stuff, but I was right before I came over here, like scrolling through some of our WhatsApp messages, and there were a lot of good times, and it's funny, man. Like,
save the ones you can. That's the thing about some of the WhatsApps, when you can't get them, when there's an image they shared and you can't download it.
Yep.
That's been a big frustrating point, when there's stuff, because now the phone's been turned off, you can't retrieve some of the pictures.
Right.
That they've shared, and that's the part I'm like, fuck. I guess if there's ever thing going forward, if you see a picture that you really like that somebody shared with you, save it, because when it's after the fact and you can't get that picture, then you're like,
wish I would have saved it.
Oh,
but
yeah, it's been rough this past since this has been going on since the week of Christmas. Yeah. I've been not doing well, like drinking. I don't go out and drink and go like whatever. I'm going pretty fucking hard, but I realize it's not sustainable. And I was talking about this with a friend last night. I put like 10 pounds back on. I spent money I shouldn't be spending. My liver is probably like, what is going on? Who are you? But we all got to deal with it in some way. But it gets better. Time. Nobody forgets. Nobody will ever forget Abby, but the hurt will get easier, and I think that's the part, is just the waves have been strong these past week, and dealing with alcohol is not the way. So I guess if anybody, but I'm a believer of, if you can use a mechanism, I'm not saying go out and do a bunch of drugs or whatever, but I mean, if there's a mechanism that you need to be able to do with it so that you don't harm yourself and you don't like take it out on others, do that.
Yeah. If
you need to go drink at a bar and gamble hundreds of dollars away that you shouldn't, do it. Yep. You could go to a therapist or whatever and spend a lot of money, but one thing I am taking into this year is working on all the things that you take for granted because what happened with Abby was a surprise and was a shock, and it was like, am I doing all the right things? Health wise, can I be doing more? Can I be doing this? Am I experiencing enough in life? Am I seeing enough things? And that's one of the, resolutions is always one of those things. When you talk about the new year and everybody's like, oh, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to do whatever. Yes, health is always a big major one. I think, if anything, this is one of those things where it puts another spotlight on, I want to take care of myself and do better next year. He was definitely a big cheering force with me losing weight and asking what I was doing in the gym and the other kind of stuff. So I definitely want to double down on that. But one of the things was just experiences in life. I don't want the last things that I do on this earth to be like, oh, hey, did I make some thumbnails? Did I fucking cut a video? Did I whatever? So this year and looking forward, I want to experience more. I want to get back to, making memories that makes sense more. I'm grateful for the jobs that we have. I'm grateful for the work that we do and the interactions that we get to have, but making sure to spend the time with your friends and your family and do the things that you need to do, and cherish the time you have, because you can never.
There's no guarantee, man.
There's no guarantee.
And I think that becomes a cliche sometimes, but there's a reminder.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with every one of those sentiments, man. And this is gonna be tough for a while.
As it should, like what does it say? What they say, the more you love someone, the harder that it hurts. Yeah. And Abbey was a very, very loved dude. I think he knew it. I think that's why he was always such a positive dude. Because it's gotta feel pretty good when most people in the world think that you're a pretty outstanding person. I don't know what that's like.
I know. It's yeah. Trust me, man. I get that. I think that's the one thing that I hope. I hope that he knew it, and I always do hate that. Like, especially, this was obviously tragedy that was out of his control.
Yep.
But I think a lot of times the people that choose to take things in their own hands, and then they see this outpouring of support, and that's not this. But I always feel awful for those people, because I'm like, wow, man, they ended things, and I bet they had no idea how many people loved them. Obviously, this was not that situation, but I do wonder, does he realize how much it was loved? And I guess maybe that's the biggest thing. This is gonna fucking kill me, but like, I guess that's the biggest thing that I hope that his family, including his kids, is taking out of all this.
Yeah.
Not that it'll make your loss any better.
Yeah.
But just to know that as much as you love that guy, the world did too.
Yep. And I know that I did see some messages that had been passed around through some of the group messages that some of us had put together of the response of the family reading the messages. His sister's been on Facebook and on Twitter. I followed her the other day. Just the outpouring. She's like, the family is just blown away by the love. So I know that they're reading the messages. If it gives them any sort of comfort in this time, I'm glad that they're getting to see those kind of things, because it's the kind of stuff that they knew what a great person he was, but it certainly helps when they realize that they're not grieving alone.
Right.
Right. That a lot of people are going through this. And so with that, there is a GoFundMe, for people that live, I'm sure you've seen it on our posts. You've seen it, all over the place. You can go to GoFundMe.com/F/Abbey Subhan.
Yep.
Or you could, if that doesn't, you can't find on that.
There's an F in there. I don't know why there's an F in between. But
Four,
there you go.
or something.
I'm sure you could just Google it.
But yeah, I think at this point you could probably Google it. There's been a lot of outpouring of support and stuff, and I know a lot of people in this community have helped me in the past. And if you're so inclined to help our brother, that would be incredible, because it's not just about the immediate cost too. I mean, he has a young family, and while the initial cost of funerals and stuff, and I hear it can be very, very hard to kind of get that sort of set up over there, but just the initial cost to help make life initially easier, anything that we can do. And the thing with this, and with Abbey being a part of our family, is this is not going to be a one-time sort of thing. I mean, like, we will stay in touch, and I told been saying this to Abbey as he's watching from the ether or the next plane of existence, like, we will take care, we will be around for his family, and we will do what we need to do to kind of help out what little bits that we can. But I mean, it's not a replacement of Abbey by any means, but
no, it's an important message, because that was actually one of the things early on that I was talking to Sandhu about. Shamakar Sandhu obviously did a great job of, he's back over in the UK now, and so he did a great job of kind of spearheading a lot of communication stuff. But that was one of my initial concerns, is that, like, I've met his family, but no, obviously I haven't spent hours and years on the road to where they understand that, like, oh, John Morgan, like, he's there, you know what I mean? It's just like, and I'm sure that goes for all of us, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we know his family, but we haven't spent inordinate amounts of time where, that hopefully that they all realize, like, dude, if they need something, like, call, pick up, reach out, we would definitely, be there for you. And I think he's trying to convey that, because that's got to be hard when it's not your friends, it's your spouse's friends,
right?
It's your spouse's coworkers, and
right,
so anyway,
I'm gonna miss that. It's funny, you go back and talk about WhatsApp messages. Every year for my birthday, he sings me happy birthday. I'm gonna miss that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, that's enough of us blubbering. I don't want to end 2026 or start 2026 with down, and hopefully you could enjoy a little bit of positivity to start. But it had to be said, and maybe for us it's helpful to help deal with it, because I'll be honest with you, man, I'm still dealing with it, and it's not a day goes by that it's not hard. So thank you for putting up with this. Hopefully if you're dealing with it, it can help you as well. And hopefully everybody's comfortable, just expressing themselves and putting that out there. Yeah. And
it's a new year. It's a new year. It ends rough, but let's all do what we can for 2026. We're here. We're still able to suffer, have pain, have good things. I guess that's a blessing right there. We are still here to make an impact and to experience life. So take this opportunity to experience life. Get out of the house. Get some experiences. It's great to strive for money, and it's great to strive for personal growth and all that kind of stuff, but make sure you're making the memories to make it worthwhile. We're here. It's 2026. Let's fucking go, man. It can't end much worse than what 2025 did. But let's have a good year, and let's do great things. I mean,
he'd want to. He'd want us, like, that was that positive energy, man. I mean, that was. Like I said, I've never met a more positive human being in my life. I've never met a more supportive person in my life, and I appreciate everything you did. And we will always love you, Abbey. And for everybody else, thanks for listening.